Hey, how you doing? It's your boy Brogi Naric, back again with another episode of TV Aftermath. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Marvel's What If, the recently finished Disney Plus animated series. I'm going to be giving my thoughts, non-spoiler thoughts, and then later in the video, giving my rankings of my favorite episodes from least favorite to favorite. And there will be spoilers in that section. So if you just want to see that, just click to that, jump to that in the time description. And before I get into this video, don't forget to, like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. We're still growing and we could use your help. So What If is another stop on the Disney Plus MCU tour. We had the previous shows that dropped earlier, like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and now we got this animated show, What If. It was 9 episodes. All episodes are around about 25-ish or so minutes. And I remember when it was first announced, I thought it was a great idea. The What If series is an old comic book series in the Marvel universe, or in the Marvel Comics universe, where it's various stories like, well, what if Iron Man didn't die or didn't have the heart problem? What would have happened? Or what if Captain America didn't get frozen in ice? What if he survived and lived out his life throughout, the 60s or whatever? Or what if Peter Parker, when he was bit by the spider, he somehow became evil as opposed to good? Stuff like that. And even goofier concepts. And I thought this would be a cool idea for a cartoon series. Now, I was not expecting it to rely heavily on the MCU aspect, and I think that was one of the things that kind of rubbed me wrong a little bit at the beginning of the show. But once I started to realize what they were doing, it got better. And I think they did that because they were basing this. They had to have a baseline, so they were like, okay, the MCU universe is going to be the baseline, and the differences will be based on the baseline of the main continuity. So it made sense. It was a way to get everybody on the same level, to keep the casuals involved and all of that. So I get that. And the show, I thought, was overall was really good. Not the best or not the greatest, but by the end of it, it really grew on me, because at the beginning it was kind of okay-ish, but as the episodes kept going, everything got better for me. Now, one of the biggest positives, I would say, is the voice cast. For the most part, really cool. They got the actors from the movies to come back. Now, the art direction, I would say, is awesome. By that, I mean the way the lighting in the episodes, the backgrounds, even the design. Some of the designs themselves were really good. And also the soundtrack for the show, the music in the show, I thought was amazing. One of my gripes, and also a positive towards the end, was the animation style. That cell shaded, so the 3D model. When they first showed it in the trailer, it wasn't really working for me. And when I started watching in the show, it really wasn't connecting for me. And I think the biggest problem was the action sequences, when they animated them, looked amazing, especially combined with the sound and the art design with the lighting and stuff like that. Looked amazing. I get Disney, amazing animation studio. They have the money. They really put good money into this. I think when it came to the facial animations, most of it didn't really work for me. The faces didn't look that expressive or that unique to really stand out to me. Now, there are certain episodes where it got better, but for a good amount of the episodes, it wasn't really working for me. And that would be a sort of a negative of mine. But it got better. Like I said, certain episodes looked really good. I don't know if it was like different teams for different episodes, but certain episodes, the animation and the facial animation looked spot on. And then others, it was like, the action is definitely better than the emotional stuff. And in some of the designs, yes, some of the characters kind of look the same-ish. You get to like the certain women, they kind of look the same-ish in the way. Some characters didn't look directly like the actor. Some of them did. It's kind of a mix, But besides all of that, I still enjoyed myself. I liked a number of the stories. I thought the majority of the stories were really cool. Some of them were just, it's the movie, but slightly different. And I liked as the show went on, they broke away from that. It's just the movie, but slightly different, when they really started getting crazy. And that was when I really started enjoying it, because that felt more like the comic, where they would just do whatever. And so yeah, with all of that being said, as an overall grade, I'd give it a B plus or 8.5 out of 10. Definitely worth watching, especially if you're a Marvel fan or MCU fan. You should enjoy most of this. I thought it was very good. Um, as far as I know, they haven't announced a season two. I wouldn't mind seeing season two. Hopefully, the season two could be even more strange. As like I said, get away from that. Oh, this is just a movie, but different. Get away from more of that and get even wackier with it. I would love that. But yeah, check it out on Disney Plus. Awesome series. So now I'm going to get into my episode rankings, and once again, that will include spoilers. That will include spoilers. So stick around for that. So let's get into this list. I'm going to start from 9 to 1, least favorite to favorite. So at number 9 is episode 7. What if Thor was an only child? Yeah, this episode, like I said, not terrible, but it's just kind of whatever. It's not as funny as I would have liked it to have been because it had some interesting stuff. It just was. It was kind of like they were mimicking Taika Waititi's comedy style from Ragnarok, but it just wasn't quite there to really nail on all fire on all cylinders. Hemsworth is Thor. This was like the most annoying I've seen him in this character. I know some people don't like MCU Thor. I'm kind of here or there with it to a degree, but when he gets really dumb, some of it works. And like I said, most of this I wasn't digging. I did like him fighting Captain Marvel, kind of a nod to the fight of the hinted fight from not Infinity, from Endgame when they first met, and there was a little tension there. I kind of like that stuff. Darcy and Howard the Duck, that was funny. And one of the things I really loved was Frost Giant Loki. I thought that was cool. And like Loki and Thor not being brothers, or at least not growing up around each other, but they're even better friends and brothers without them growing around each other. It was really cool. So yeah, but okay episode. The ending, of course, with the Ultron popping up stuff was cool. But other than that, it was okay. Number 8 on my list is Episode 1, What If Captain Carter Were the First Avenger? Fine episode. This is the first one where it was basically Captain America 1, but Peggy is now Captain America. And it was so close to the book. It wasn't that much different, but it was still the first episode. It got me into it. Like I said, the action was really good, but then some of the story I thought was going to go more different direction than what it ultimately did, but it was like, okay, Steve as the Hydra Stomper, really cool idea, cool concept, reminded me of Big Guy and Rusty, and yeah, that was mainly about it. It was kind of a decent episode. Number 7 on my list is episode 5, What If Zombies? And this episode was loosely based on the Marvel Zombies comic, which I haven't read, but I know it's popular. The comic is way darker than this. And this kind of picked up around Infinity War, didn't it? And I think about it, it started with Bruce Banner. Like he just crash landed on Earth from Infinity War. And all of a sudden, Earth is taken over by zombies, which there was the Quantum Realm zombie plague, because I think Hank Pym got Janet, and that she was like infected by some zombie plague. Like the Ant-Man franchise, that's one thing we definitely learned from this series. The Ant-Man franchise causes a lot of problems in the MCU when shit goes left. It's usually the Ant-Man franchise that's causing problems. But yeah, we got the random team. Happy was still alive. Agent, whatever her name, Agent Carter's granddaughter was still alive. Ant-Man was a head in the jar, like Futurama. It was kind of Josh Keaton as Spider-Man, who was the Spider-Man from Spectacular Spider-Man, doing an impersonation of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Was weird, but he actually did a good job at it. Did love seeing Zombie Scarlet Witch was cool, and the cliffhanger to that episode, Black Panther still being around, Vision being evil, trying to take over, trying to protect Zombie Scarlet Witch. Interesting stuff. I like that. I wouldn't mind going back to see more of that universe. Oh yeah, and Zombie Thanos as well. Next, number 6 on my list is Episode 2, What If T'Challa Became a Star-Lord? Now, this episode, I know a lot of people was looking forward to. I was as well, because this was at the time we thought was the last thing that Chadwick had recorded. But he appears in other episodes, and this is another one where it's like, okay, let's do Guardians, but Black Panther is now Star-Lord, and the explanation of how he got picked up by the aliens was funny. I thought that was funny. The Star-Lord thing, there was a whole controversy of like, well, how did he get the Star-Lord name? And they explained it, well, technically Star-Lord was, because, Peter got it from his mom, but technically Star-Lord was the name of Ego's name on Earth. So he's still in a roundabout way could have gotten the name or whatever. So whatever. But basically, T'Challa saves the universe because he's just an awesome diplomat, and he convinces Thanos that genocide not a good idea. Fuck those Infinity Stones. You don't need it. So good guy Thanos was cool. I love the blonde Nebula in this. She was awesome. With the whole cha-cha stuff, I would have loved to have seen more adventures of this Star-Lord and that Nebula working together, because that chemistry was really good. The action was fine. The cast from Guardians was fine. Once again, the show's mimicking the movie style, not quite nailing it as well as the movie, but not as bad as what the Thor episode did, trying to nail the Taika Waititi style. I'm still not a fan of the Collector. I wasn't a fan of him in Guardians 1, and I didn't care for him getting more screen time in this, but whatever. Still fun episode, and the ending where he goes back to Earth and all of that, and then the cliffhanger of Peter working at a Dairy Queen, that was fucking hilarious, and Kurt Russell pulling up on him, awesome. Number 5 on my list is Episode 3, What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes? Now, this was an episode that at the time was my favorite, because this was the one that felt like the closest to the What If comic, where it just went off the rails. I didn't know how it was going to end because it wasn't directly building off of one of the movies per se. And it's it's cool murder mystery, all the prospects for the Avengers, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, even Black Widow and Hawkeye end up getting killed. Nick Fury's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. I didn't figure it out. I didn't see it coming because I wasn't thinking of Ant-Man, but the whole Hank Pym, he's going crazy. He's actually Yellow Jacket, and it's closer to the comics where he's Yellow Jacket and he's losing his damn mind. I loved all of that. Just the way he was able to eliminate the different Avengers, being small and all that, was really cool. Especially the Hulk one. And the what was the other one? The Thor one was pretty simple, where he just hit Hawkeye's hand. But the Natasha one, where he just beats her up, and I'm like, someone invisible. I was thinking it was Ghost. That is close to Ant-Man as I got. I was maybe it's Ghost. She was S.H.I.E.L.D. project. I don't know, but yeah, love that. Loki as Nick Fury was funny, and of course the ending where Loki just takes over Earth, and he's got to get a new team of Avengers. I love that cliffhanger. Yeah, really enjoyed that episode. Number 4 on my list is Episode 8, What If Ultron Won? And this one was basically Ultron succeeds in the Age of Ultron movie, where he transfers his consciousness into the Vision body, and then he becomes ultra powerful and takes over the world. And that's that moment where he kills Thanos with the Mind Stone, just splits him right up the middle. Which was pretty hardcore, because I was well, how the fuck did he get this? Everybody was well, how did he get the Soul Stone? It's oh, he just killed Thanos once he popped up. So that was a good explanation. He becomes all powerful. He's destroying planets, looking like Galactus at moments. Once he realizes that there are multiverses, and he can see the Watcher. The Watcher's freaking out because he's that's never happened. Good stuff. You got the Black Widow and Hawkeye doing their thing as the survivors. And they reactivated Armin Zola, which I thought was a really cool callback, bringing him back and him being the tech device that they use to try to take down Ultron. Really cool. And then also we get the Uatu in his battle armor fighting Ultron. I've never seen Uatu in battle armor before. He usually is a pacifist, but that was cool to see him throw hands a little bit. Really awesome. Number 3 on my list is Episode 4, What If Doctor Strange Lost His Heart Instead of His Hands? Now, this was a really, really solid episode when he, the whole story of him trying to avoid, what's her name, Rachel McAdams' character from dying and all the different ways. It was supposed to be tragic, but it kind of became comical at times. Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job with the voice acting in this episode. Beautiful. This was the first episode where I thought the animation was very beautiful, especially at the end when you get to the Doctor Strange versus Doctor Strange fight, and then all the creatures and all that. Like, that was just beautiful stuff. And the sad love story of it all was really good. By the time he finally gets what he wants, she doesn't recognize him, and then the whole friggin' universe is now being destroyed because of his selfishness and all of the parallel versions, time, all that craziness. Really, really solid episode. Love that episode. Now, number 2 on my list is episode 9, What If the Watcher Broke His Oath? Now, this was the finale of the show. Uatu recruits the Guardians of the Multiverse to stop Ultron from destroying the multiverse. Really awesome finale. I felt like this really wrapped up the series as a whole in a nice little bow. It was very sad. I thought it was a satisfying ending. Let me know what you thought about the ending in the comments. But, Ultron was a big threat, especially with the friggin' Infinity Stones. So him getting the different characters from the different previous episodes was cool. Now, I was disappointed that Gamora was the one character we didn't see before this, and her universe looked pretty interesting. She's the destroyer of Thanos, and she survived Sakaar, which is the planet where Hulk and Thor were on Ragnarok, and then she has this device called an Infinity Crusher that was going to be used to destroy the stones. And then she's like, Tony's there, and he's got like this huge Hulkbuster-y sort of mixed-matched armor suit. Like, I would have loved to see more of that universe. And she's got like the Thanos' double blade. She looked a little bit bigger too. But anyway, so they get together. Party Thor is still annoying and even dumber than regular MCU Thor. Killmonger's there with Star-Lord, T'Challa. That didn't really get as crazy as I thought it was going to get. Captain Carter was coming back. She was fun. And, her being in the Winter Soldier situation, I thought was kind of funny with her and Black Widow, and then her fighting Voltrak and all of that stuff. But Doctor Strange is the MVP. He really is. He was holding it down for that team. He was with all the magic, the spells, that moment where Ultron did that big blast, and then he reversed it and absorbed it, and then he still had his time stone, and he could rework everything. It was really good. The animation on this was great. The fighting was cool. The plan to get the virus into Ultron was cool, and then I love the whole turn where Killmonger, because you see him fucking around with the Ultron head the whole time, so once they stop him, he tries to take the stones, and then Armanzolo's like, no, I'm taking the stones, and then, Strange petting them in their own little encapsulated bubble, and now he has to watch over them for all eternity. That was cool, and he's hanging out with Uatu. I like that. So that was, like I said, very satisfying ending. I like how they had certain callbacks through the other episodes, like the zombies coming in, and then you see Zombie Scarlet Witch, which I thought she was going to do a little more damage than what she did. Black Widow not having anywhere to go, so she goes to the world where the Avengers got killed by Ant-Man to go help out the new team. I thought that was cool. You see Star-Lord and Peter fighting against Ego. So yeah, it was a good sort of nice wrap up for the season, and really, really good episode. And my number 1 episode is episode 6. What if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark? God damn, this episode was awesome. I don't care what anybody says. I love the Black Panther movie. It's my favorite MCU movie, but God, that universe, that section of the universe is so awesome. God dang it. This story was awesome. This was the one episode that I remember when I was watching it, and I was I didn't know I was halfway through, and I realized I was halfway through. I was so excited because I just didn't know where the story was going. So, Killmonger is a dirty son of a bitch. So this man saves Tony Stark from the first Iron Man, exposes Obadiah, becomes the new security chief. He's getting close with Tony. Also, he could use Tony to create these crazy Gundams made out of vibranium. So he can then use the Gundams to set up America, so he would have justification to take over Wakanda, because he gets rid of Black Panther, because Black Panther is on him, Rhodey is on him. The moment when he kills T'Challa and Black Panther, I was like, yo, this dude is insane. This man is a menace. He needs to be stopped. So he's working with the government. He's getting close with Tony. Then he kills Tony, which was like a theme that I saw people on Twitter crying about. It was like, how many episodes are they gonna kill Tony? Which, yeah, it was a meme by the end of it, where it's like he dies in like at least like 5 of the 9 episodes. So Tony is dead. T'Challa is now in charge, and he's got an army of mechs that's gonna stomp into Wakanda because they're blaming Wakanda for his death. And which that was one of the things that didn't make sense. Like, why would the American army allow one dude to lead an attack on another country? Like, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. So he's going in, and then he's flipping it, and he's like, oh, America's trying to attack, and I'm from Wakanda, I'm your long lost nephew. And Tony Stark killed your son, and I'm here to defend him. And like, he's the whole him posing as the savior of Wakanda is just amazing. At the arrogance and the strategic mind of this character, it just tripped me out. The cast, of course, awesome. Chadwick, Michael B. Jordan, Danny Guerrero. You got I think Shuri, the same Shuri in this episode. They had Angela Bassett. They had the dad. They had I think they had Don Cheadle as Rhodey. I don't think they had Gwyneth Paltrow, and they damn sure didn't have Tony Stark. Although the guy that did Stark's voice was really good in imitating Robert Downey Jr. But the action, this was the one episode. This was along with the later episodes, like the Doctor Strange one, the Ultron episode, the finale, and this one, where I thought the animation for the faces and the action was really good. And I thought it was the best in this one, but the facial animation and the action animation was top notch. And like something about the way they animated the acting in this really stood out to me. And the fight scenes, with them fighting the mechs, the friggin' Queen working with the Dora Milaje, like it was just so awesome. And then of course stuff at the end where Shuri reveals that, like, hey, that dude's on some bullshit, we gotta stop him. We'll have loved to see how that gets resolved, because you got the whole of America trying to attack Wakanda now, so it's crazy. And the one thing that episode reiterated to me is that Disney needs to recast Black Panther, because that franchise there's a lot of untapped potential, and I feel like they're just gonna let it fall by the wayside by just not recasting the character of Black Panther. I know they want to honor Chadwick Boseman, and I think they can honor him by keeping that character alive, as opposed to having an excuse to not do anything with the character. So, in this episode, just reiterated, like, no, Black Panther, you can do a lot of cool shit with that franchise, and goddamn, this episode was awesome. This whole season was really good, and but let me know your rankings in the comments, or what was your favorite episode, what was your least favorite episode. Did you think this show was lame? Did you want it to be better? Because I know a lot of people, for some reason, had very high expectations. Knowing what If is, knowing that it was animated, and they had the other live action shows, my expectations were already pretty low, because it's animated. It's not technically continuity, so it's not going to matter as much. So I was not going into it with these super high expectations, and I was greatly and pleasantly pleased with the show. But let me know, were you disappointed? Did you want it more? Did you hate it? I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. But those are my thoughts on What If. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Peace.